Right, well, I guess we're live. So, I have my monitor showed up there. Maybe nothing's gonna appear there, so hopefully some people will join us soon. If not, well, I guess we'll get there eventually. This will end up on YouTube. That's my YouTube address right there. If you scan that code, I don't know, something happens. I don't even remember what that QR code's for. Maybe it's for donations. I think that's what the little sock widget is for. So we're going to talk about margin. This is something that I've been meaning to talk about for a long time because I don't think the average person uses it, and I think everyone should have a margin account. I think you can honestly use it somewhat as a savings account even. I know people that trade, you know, and have money that don't use their margin account. I'm sorry, I'm looking at my screen, not up there, so apologies on that. Whatever. So, if you're new to this concept, what a margin account is, you can borrow money against the value of your stocks and your securities, and your cash goes into that figure, etc. As far as I know, every account at a brokerage requires $2,000 to have a margin account, $2,000 in value. Now, don't tune away because there are ways to get that. Various ways we'll talk about. And if I forget to come back to something, leave a chat or post in the chat, leave a comment, whatever. I do respond to comments on YouTube. I respond to chats as best I can. There's no one here yet, so this will probably just end up being mostly a YouTube deal. But, you know, give me that follow, give me that subscribe so that you can see the responses, etc., etc. So, back to the point at hand. Margin is basically an amount that you can borrow against your stocks and stuff. Now that varies as to the amount you can borrow depending on the stock. If it's a stock that everybody's kind of speculating on, you know, some crazy stock that, you know, is just up and down, and, you know, 1 month it's worth 60 cents, the next month it's worth $3, you know, penny stocks, things of that nature, your margin requirement might be 100%, like basically cash. Like, we will not loan you money on that stock because it's just too volatile. Like, if you want $100 worth of the stock, you gotta have $100. That's just how that goes. At the other end of the spectrum, I'm gonna move this video here. I'm gonna look at my E-Trade account and go over some examples of stocks and stuff that, and I apologize, you're just getting that tunnel effect there on that window, but I don't want you to see what's in my E-Trade account. Not yet. Maybe one day I will. People do portfolio reveals. Maybe one day I'll decide to do that. And it doesn't matter. We're here to talk about you, not to talk about me. So I think that's under portfolios and then margin if you're on the E-Trade platform. And you can see what the margin requirements are. Now, not only do they vary from stock to stock, they also vary from broker to broker. I also have Tasty Trade. I use E-Trade for like simple option setups that are pretty easy to track. You know, I'm not going to get into that, but simpler stuff. Tastyworks I use for more complex multi-leg stuff. That's a different video entirely. So let me see here. Let me look at the margin requirement. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, so I'm scrolling through. Yeah, like I said, there's some penny stocks where I have to have 100%. QYLD, which a lot of people like. That looks like, let me look at the symbol for a put. Okay, that's all I have in this is 40%. I have to have 40% of the money to buy that stock, basically. Let's see, that's what I'm showing, although the cash, no, okay, that's a twofer, yeah, okay, so that kind of makes sense. Let me look at a different account here, maybe with some more variety, because I want to see if there's a difference in the cash requirements, which I'm digressing here because this is not the point of the video. Okay, yeah, so this one is a little more interesting. So like FMCC, like Fannie Mae and these student loan companies, they're small penny stocks. I have a little bit of it. That's a 100% requirement. You have to have the full cash value to cover those stocks. Now just scrolling down, I'm looking, the least that I see is probably 35%. So we'll go through an example here. So if you wanted to buy SPY, which right now, let me expand this back, SPY is a $400 and something stock. The point of it, for me to buy 100 shares on margin, that does not cost me $44,870 of my buying power. That costs me $13,461. So I have 100 shares in my account. As long as it retains a certain value, in SPY, we're not going to go into that right now, but as long as that stock maintains a certain value, I'm good. I can buy and sell, I can trade that, I can sell options against it, whatever. So, if you were to buy, like, let's say QYLD, a lot of people buy like QYLD because it is something that pays a reasonable dividend. I mean, it's a pretty good dividend. It's probably not like the best financial investment, honestly, but it's not a poor one either. It's pretty stable. It pays out a high dividend every month. I can buy that for 40%. So for me to buy 8,300 shares of what is this value? It doesn't look right. Okay, yeah, that is right. So let's say I were to buy 400 shares of QYLD. It's $20.70. So you're looking at about $8,300. And I guess I'm cluing you into some of the positions that I hold. But for me to buy $8,300 worth of stock, 400 shares, I only have to have $3,300 in buying power. So what that means is, let's see, okay, that's my concentration. It shows me also how much of my portfolio is on worth. There's a figure here that shows the portfolio amount. So anyway, what that means, to buy those 400 shares of QYLD, you only need 40% of the money. So if you don't have margin, it's going to take 2.5 times that amount of money to get that many shares. So that means that yield, like let's say it's 10%, you can get 2.5 times that if you're buying this on margin. Because I get the dividends for the 400 shares. That I get that money. So that 10 or 12% dividend per year, or even as low as 8 or whatever, I think that's like the bottom figure I've seen. I get those 400 shares. I get that dividend, even though I only had to come up with 40% of the money. So you're basically, it's leverage is what it is. You're kind of I'm borrowing at a certain percentage. I only pay like 2.5% on my margin, and then they're paying me all these dividends on a lower amount of investment. Now the problem with that is, if your stock loses value, you may get what's called a margin call. And if I haven't said it, none of this is stock advice. I'm not a professional, however, I've just been doing this a really long time, and these aren't hard concepts. It may require further study on your part and asking questions just so you fully grasp, scenarios. Like, what happens if? What should I do if? How do I get to this, and how do I do that? So I'm not asking, don't take my advice. Don't take my advice. Just don't. I'll put that disclaimer out there. So where were we? I think that was about it for that. Now, the other way you can use margin is, we're talking about margin calls. So what a margin call is if your stock value drops, like if you have a market crash or correction or whatever, if it drops below a certain percentage, they may say, hey, we need you to put in some more money because when we loaned you this money, you had $50,000 of value. Now you've only got $40,000 of value, so you may need to put in some money. Now, if you only spent $5,000 on margin, you're fine. I mean, that's fine. You can do the math yourself on your particular requirements. I mean, I guess you could get a margin call, but if you're just using a tiny percentage of it just to boost some income, you're probably fine if, your stock value drops 20% and you've only spent like 10% of it on margin. Okay, I don't even know if I could imagine a scenario. I guess there could be some where you would get a margin call during that. But on that note, have some ready cash or some liquidity. You know, in a rush, you could take one of those credit card checks where they give you 0%, but you only pay like 3 or 4% fee to do it for like a year or 18 months. And more on that later. Those are useful to have around. Like this would be an instance where you might just go, okay, look, I just need to borrow this money for, 6 months or a year till the market comes back. I'm going to pay 3%, but I'm going to get rid of my margin call, and then I'm going to collect my dividends, and I'm just going to let it ride, Or I'm going to take that check and I'm going to buy another $500 of stock, while the market's down. So you're kind of time shifting that. More on that later, because that is a method that you could do to get yourself a margin account. And I definitely want to go into that because I did that a long time ago. I got some credit card checks and I was like, I can borrow this money for basically 3% a year, but then I can put it in this high dividend stock. At the end of the year, I just give the credit card people their money back, and I've collected all these extra dividends or whatever during the year. Or next year, I'll take a different credit card and I'll just write a check to pay off the first one, and then I'll just keep collecting those dividends, and I'll just flip that money from credit card to credit card because I can do this all day long for 3 to 4% a year. I make money on the spread, the amount between I borrow the money and the amount that, QYLD pays me or whatever. Why don't I do that? So I did that. I did that for a long time. I basically used it as play money. You just keep rolling it and you can increase. Anyway, we'll talk about that later. But that's one way you could get your initial $2,000 if you have good credit. There's other ways we'll talk about. So anyway, so the other way that you could use margin, like Rob, that's just too complicated. I don't want to mess with that. So the other way you could use margin is short-term loans for yourself, or you need a down payment on a house, you need to buy a car, if your account is big enough. The benefit to doing that on margin is the amount that you pay to borrow the money, like your percentage that you pay to borrow the money, you're kind of borrowing from yourself really, is considered an investment expense. It just is. I'm not a tax expert. Consult your CPA. So you can take money out against the value of your stock and go buy your car or whatever. Then pay, whatever percent you can get or negotiate. And on that note, if I forget to come back to it later, there's a brokerage that I got, and I don't know all the terms and conditions. I don't honestly use this brokerage very much, but they offered me 1.99% on margin. So that means I can take a certain amount of money out of my account, borrow against the value of my own stuff, and only pay 1.99% on it. That's honestly getting eaten by inflation. So it's actually free money. So that's one, cheap way to do this. Or if you're an active trader, or if you're good at negotiating, you can call your broker and say, look, I don't want to pay 8.5%. I don't want to pay 9% on margin. I'm going to be active. I'm going to be stock trading some, or I have a reasonably large account. If you're capable of it, can I negotiate? And I was able to get E-Trade down to 2.45%. So instead of using that credit card, at 18% to go buy something or get your transmission fixed or whatever, you could just say, hey, stock market, or Mr. Broker, I need $1,800 to pay for this transmission. Can you put it in my account? Oh, sure, you've got that much on margin because you've got, $10,000 or whatever. No problem. In a couple of days, it's in your bank account. And again, that percentage that you pay is tax deductible, so you can, write it off. Let's see. So what else? I think we talked about pretty much everything. I'm going to go ahead and let me get over to my other screen here. Window. Make it over to... I'm going to just go ahead and paste some of these in here. Zip, 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 zip. Move this window over to this other monitor. I'm going to paste the first one I'm going to make is a Marsco. Oh, dang it. search, not new note. I don't need that. I kind of hate how Google Keep does that. They have a window there, and I always end up making a new note from time to time. Okay, so this is Mars Co, and this is one of the ones that, and if you're watching this on YouTube later, I'll paste all these into the links. I think this is one of the ones that gives you like free stock and stuff. There might be a minimum to put in. Those kind of tend to vary. Pardon me, I just got done working out. So my hair still looks wet because I just got out of the shower and stuff. Protein shake time. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they have an offer almost always where either you open an account and you get free stocks, or maybe you have to put in $100 and you get free stock. That's a valid method of getting up to that $2,000. If you put in $100 at this brokerage, they give you a couple stocks, and then maybe in a month you take your $100 out, leave those stocks there, move them over to the next one, and eventually you could just kind of aggregate all that. Those are typically good return on the investment. I'm going to go ahead and paste in Webull here. Right now, I think Webull's given at least 2 stocks, and I don't believe there's a minimum. I just signed my son up for an account. He got 2 free stocks, and I got like 6. So between the two of us, I think we got about 30-something bucks. And I do like Webull. I've used their platform a little bit. They do have a nice interface. The website's fast. It's a good middle-of-the-road brokerage. It's above Robinhood and things like that, and Public, that are very, very basic, where, I can buy and sell stock on it. And that's fine. I recommend those just to be able to refer people and get more free stock. And I have them, so I can get more free stock. Those I typically just tend to, let them sit there and forget. I forget about it until, maybe I see a notification for dividends or something, and I just let those ride like all year. And then at the end of the year, I don't know why this is dinging at me. This is very annoying. I left my phone on. Yeah, okay, cool. Instagram, I don't need to know your comments on all the time. Not that person. Anyway, so Webull's got pretty good offers from time to time, and then you take your account and you make your son sign up, or daughter, or wife, etc. You guys all sign up, and you get 20 or 30 shares of something for the whole family. I actually got the best I ever got was JetBlue. I got about $45 in JetBlue, which I sold. And that's what you can do with the stock if you don't want it, which honestly a lot of them you probably don't, because they're typically just a few dollars each, but sometimes more. Just sell it and buy what you want. Back to that note, here's the symbol. A lot of people like these too. Again, this is not financial advice. Take a look at these. RYLD, honestly, I'm kind of leaning more towards these days. And there's more way. They do the thing that I do to make money, which is sell covered calls on SPY, and RYLD, I guess, is the Russell index. They sell covered calls on indexes. Those require typically about 5 figures on margin to do. Like, you can make some good money with about $15,000. If you don't have that much, it's fine. You will someday, because you're going to keep rolling little bits of money into these from time to time, and you're going to get your dividends, et cetera, et cetera. So those are 2 that just pay you a little bit every month. Excuse me. Protein shakes into me. So as an example, on Robinhood, if you were to buy this, you have, hey, man, I got $5. Okay, get that Robinhood account, $5, buy $5 worth of this stock. Every time you get a dividend monthly, every month you get a little check, dividend, you can have Robinhood automatically reinvest it. Or you could keep your 12 or 15 cents, and the next time you've got $5.15, maybe you buy the other one. And then at that point, you can roll your dividends over and over. That's called drip, dividend reinvestment program, and they automatically keep buying that same stock. They just take your dividend and they just keep rolling over. So at the end of the year, you don't have the $5. You've got, $5.50 in the stock, and you see how that just kind of builds up over time. And then maybe, you don't go to Starbucks that day. You take your $6 from Starbucks that you're gonna spend. You're like, nah, I want the money. I don't want that coffee that's gone in 5 minutes. I want the money, and I want a part of a share of whatever. On that note, I'm gonna talk about Robinhood a little bit. If you're just getting started, it's fine. If you're getting a little more serious, it's not fine. I would probably look at Webull. If you're getting into options, that's way above this video, then I would look at Tasty Trade. Again, at the end of the video, I'm going to paste all these into the chat, and then just stick around and see what happens. And again, if you're watching this on YouTube, those will be in the comment section probably. I'll just pin those. And that's how the game is played. That is a mark of rich and successful people. They put off their gratification. In other words, I could have that PlayStation, or I could have this bigger monitor, or I could have this new graphics card, or whatever. It's like, do I really want that? Or do I really want, the freedom that money provides? Like, personally, and I think the view is, money and stuff, or stuff is kind of like can drag you down. Like, I would rather have the money, and, if I've got the money to spend on stuff, fine. I usually don't. I mean, I'm okay, I prefer to put my money into something that's going to benefit me somehow. TVs and watches and clothes and things like that, like, beyond a certain point, really don't benefit you. Money and stock and passive income and stocks and things that make you money while you sleep, that's freedom. That buys you freedom of choice, more freedom to choose your job, because you could say, I'm okay, I'm fine working here. I like this job because I got this other income on the side. I like the job. Or, I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur or whatever, so now I've got some income built up off of this, and I've got, like a nest egg kind of, and, I think I could make it. I could do okay, on what I'm making through stocks. So I think we've covered most of that. I think we've covered kind of like, bootstrapping yourself up and getting all these accounts signed up. And some of these aren't stock accounts. I'm going to link everything on YouTube, and I'm just going to paste everything. Some of them are like, bank accounts where it's like, put in $50, we'll give you $50. It's like, well, you just doubled your money. Or Fidelity, unfortunately, it's not available now, but I'll, like and subscribe, so you'll get a notification if I post about it. They had a deal where if you put in $50, they gave you $100. So you basically tripled your money. You went from having $50 to $150, and they did it in like 2 weeks. So I opened an account, put $50 in it, had my wife open an account, put $50 in it, we made $200. Now, you take that $200 and you stick it in, a stock that gives you some dividends. Let's see. Yeah, I'm just going to leave it. There's another one called XYLD. And there's other ones that start with QYL, but they end in G. Or XYLG. I think there's an RYLG. I'm not sure. So those that end in G are about growth. Like, they pay you a little dividend, like 5 and something percent, but they also are more focused on growing the value of the stock. It's not as much cash flow. The D is for dividends, and the Q, R, and X, those are the different exchanges and indexes and stuff that they are. See how that works? There's a system. There's a method to the madness. Those are all from the same company. And sorry for all the digression. Just kind of stream of consciousness here, because I just worked out. I'm still hopped up on post-workout and energy drinks. So apologize for that. Let's see. I think we're getting close to the end of this here with about 24 minutes. Don't forget that like and subscribe. There's not much else I can think to say. I'm quite sure there's going to be questions. Again, I do respond. Sometimes it may take me a while, but definitely if you bug me on Twitter or something like that, I do respond. So let's go ahead and I guess what we can do here is, let me go through these referral links, interactive brokers, and we'll kind of talk about a little bit about it. Interactive brokers. Let me move my note over. So interactive brokers, the thing I like about interactive brokers, and I believe this is one where you have to put in some money maybe to get the referral, their margin rate is very, very low right off the bat. M1 Finance, here's another one. For a while, I don't know if this is still valid. My notes say if you deposit $100, you get $30. Again, you don't have to have, multiple $100 accounts. You could just have one. Once you get your reward, you can take part of the money and roll it into the next one to get the next reward, and just do this for however long. Bookmark this and come back so that you can get the referrals, because I do get something. I'm kind of doing this not just from you. I'm doing this somewhat for me. So Robinhood, here's the one that everybody knows about it. Again, if you're getting started, fine, and there's a good reason to get it so that you get the free stock. First Trade's pretty good. They're just kind of middle of the road. I don't have a whole lot to say about them. Again, not only getting the stock is good for this, getting this account set up is so that you can refer other people, even if it's, setting it up for your son or daughter or wife or whatever. I did my setup for my son. Yeah, Webull here. It's either 2 or 4, and these change from time to time. Webull's one of those that it changes from time to time. And on that note, let me go ahead and put in E-Trade. E-Trade right now is giving me an offer. If you put in $5,000, you get $75. I'm not sure how long you have to leave it in there, but I'm probably going to be adding some money anyway, so I'm going to pick up $75. So I'm going to do that. Excuse me. Hopefully for my account and for the wife's account, we have a joint account on there, so we'll pick up $150 because we were going to put in some money anyway. And that goes back to the credit card thing. You don't necessarily have to have that. You could write a $5,000 check on your credit card deal and put that into the account. So $75, that's 1.5%. So if the fee to write the check is 3, you just got half your money back right off the bat. And then you can do the other things we talked about with the money. Just at the end of the year, maybe have some liquid to pay off that credit card probably. Or at least have another credit card that you are reasonably sure that you're going to get a check for. Or you take it out on margin. If you have your stock, you take it out on margin, which is deductible percentage, and you pay off that credit card so that you don't have to pay the high credit card rate. Look into like a a credit union, because one of my credit unions, they consistently give 3% for 12 months. So I've actually used it again just now. I paid it off with margin, and then I'm going to get another 12 months at 3%. I'm going to put it back. So I'm just flipping it back and forth. I paid it off, and I think I let it sit for a couple months now with nothing on it, and then they popped up this offer, and it had 3% for 12 months. I'm like, I'll take that, because you're going to lose money on inflation anyway. Different video. Let's see. So what are we up to here? I think I did. Let's see. Webull and okay. Now Tastyworks. There's a couple of different ones here. I think these basically do the same thing. You're allowed to choose 200 options or 100 options, or they give you 100 shares of something. That looks like a $2,000 requirement. So if you did that, you'd have margin available right off the bat. Now, I will be honest, I like Tastyworks for complex options trades. If you're getting it for the margin, I think it's a higher margin rate, and I also think their percentage is higher. Like to buy SPY. SPY is the S&P 500, by the way, so it's the top 500 companies on it is the S&P 500. You can Google what that is if you don't know. SPY is a stock. So anyway, to buy 100 shares of that on sniffly. To buy 100 shares of that on Tastyworks is 50%. For me to buy that on E-Trade, I think is 35. Yeah, that sounds right. or 30. It might be 30. Now I'm curious. What is it? SPY. Yeah, 30%. So it's like $22,000 to buy it on Tastyworks. It's only $13,000 to buy it on margin on E-Trade. And I don't know if that's because of the size of my account on E-Trade is higher or what, but that is a big difference, which is why I have the two accounts, because I kind of do different things on each one and for different reasons, just to make things optimal. Let me get back to my notes. Google Keep. Okay, so I dropped, let's see, Tastyworks in there. I think they're also, for a while, were giving some crypto. I think that's about it for the freebies. Again, look on YouTube. I'm going to put my, here's my YouTube link. So if you're watching this on Twitch, you'll be able to find this video on YouTube shortly because I'm going to upload it. So there's that. And then if you want to ask questions, you can do it on the YouTube, or I have a Discord that I may or may not link, or ask in the comments somebody, hey, give me that Discord link. And I will do that. Then you can chat in the Discord. But comments are fine, because then everybody can read it, and I don't have to say the same thing 9 million times. I can be like, hey man, just read the comments. It's all there. Because I'm lazy. I think that's about it. Like, subscribe, appreciate you guys, and if you're watching this on Twitch, if you've got this far, which I doubt you have, these do go away because I don't have Twitch Prime, because I'm not paying for that, because I don't have enough viewers and I don't make enough money to make that worthwhile to me, honestly. I can just do it on YouTube, and hopefully these eventually get monetized on YouTube once I hit 1,000 subscribers, which at this rate, another 10 months or so. So it's very important that you subscribe so that when YouTube plays ads on my videos and makes money off my videos, that I get a portion of it, because I do not right now. Thanks for watching. Sorry for the rants. Sorry for the asides. Hope this helps. I think it will if you will follow through and make notes and ask questions. I think you'll find this extremely beneficial. I do it. It's not complicated. You just learn the little bits and pieces, and then pretty soon you understand the whole complex deal. It's not really that hard to do. So thanks for watching, and we can talk about more specifics later. Goodbye.